All right, I call the meeting of the Urbana Historic Preservation Commission to order. Could we have roll call, please, Marcus?
Absolutely. Calling to order at 7:04 p.m. David Hayes. Here. Alice Novak.
Here.
Laura O'Donnell.
Here.
Gina Pagliuso.
Here at the City Building.
Thank you. And Matt Shepard.
Here.
Okay, we have we have a full house. Thank you. And Gina, thanks for staffing the City Building. Do we have, let's see, we don't have any changes to the agenda, I think, do we? No. Okay, moving on then. Approval of previous minutes, including August 4th meeting and September 1st meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Really?
Well, there was one word, but it's not worth mentioning, and I'm not going to look for it. So let's. I say I have no problems.
All week now.
Nothing.
I just had one thing on the top of page 5.
Which one? August?
August, yeah, because I wasn't here for September. Where it says that I mentioned that there was no mention about any changes to the doors that open to the inside of the shopping mall. I was really concerned about the whole interior, not just the doors. So the old exterior of the hotel that is now the interior wall of the mall, not just the doors.
Okay.
So if we could maybe change the doors to the, I don't know, the old exterior wall.
Enclosed exterior.
That sounds fine.
Okay. Not just the doors. Okay.
Any other additions or corrections from anybody? If not, can we have a motion to approve as corrected?
I move to approve as corrected.
Anybody seconding?
I second the motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other discussion on these? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, minutes are passed from the meetings of August 4th and September 1st. Next, we have written communications, but I don't think we have any. No audience participation. Oh, Gina, yes.
I don't think I should vote on the September minutes because I wasn't here. So if we could just note that I abstained.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
And you are correct. Audience participation, nothing. I'm going to skip over a lot of this stuff after this bug gets off me. Is there any new business? No. Monitoring of historic properties. Gina, what do you have?
I haven't really been driving around town too much. I had gotten in touch with Marcus about the half timbering that got removed from the original part of the Hotel Royer, not long after we approved the certificate of appropriateness. Marcus, I think, addressed that in the last meeting when I wasn't here. Aside from that, I really haven't been cruising around and checking things out too much this month. Sorry.
All right. Well, we always appreciate your great checking things out routines. So thank you.
Speaking of the Hotel Royer, how did the, what was it? The groundbreaking?
That was canceled.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It should have been tonight.
It was supposed to be at 4. Okay.
It was canceled a few weeks ago.
And I missed that. Okay.
Last I heard, they were going to have a sort of groundbreaking along with the opening day, whenever that happens.
Okay.
So it didn't get lost.
I'm glad I didn't go today then.
Okay, yeah. Okay, staff report. Marcus.
Okay. We've been busy, not as busy as we might have been, but we've been busy. You've got that report. We'll hit the items briefly. SHPO did approve the proposed accessibility ramp at the IMC's US Post Office. And
And that was just a
They-
staff review, right?
And because there were covenants on the transfer deed, that any changes to the exterior, short of just painting, have to be reviewed by SHPO. So they were okay with that accessibility ramp proposal. It still needs to go through the full city permitting process, pole building inspection, building permits and all that. There's been no change on Ellis. I did bump them the other day with an email while also passing on to them a funding opportunity. So some good news and hey, are you still interested in doing this? Tied to that a little bit, the programmatic agreement, SHPO, was signed. It's a 5-year agreement. We had talked about this last month. This will allow city staff to do the Section 106 environmental reviews for HUD for HUD funding projects, things like emergency home repair and things like that. And if Dr. Ellis decided to stick with the historic district option rather than the neighborhood conservation district option, the fact that we now have a programmatic agreement make things better with speedier review than if we didn't have the programmatic agreement, because all of those emergency home repairs would continue to go to SHPO for review rather than them being done in-house. So hopefully if they still want to do something, they'll go with the neighborhood conservation district. If they don't, it'll be not as bad as before.
Okay.
HPC member update. An application to serve on the HPC was submitted to the mayor's office, and we will announce if they're approved. There are currently 2 vacancies, so if you know of somebody else, please suggest it. In rereading the historic preservation ordinance, it is in the purview of the commission and the commission chair to make recommendations. So it isn't just necessarily the mayor finds people and picks them. It counts on the recommendations. So I like hearing that. The CLG assessment and reporting, we did the quadrennial review with John Presley. That went well. He had some comments. I think overall he was impressed with our program. We will need updated biographies of all commission members. So if you've got a resume, a CV, anything, if you could send that along to myself and Terry, that'll have to be part of the December annual report that we submit. Because
I don't remember ever doing that. I suppose I must have, but what are we looking for there? Education, background that applies to historic preservation?
Exactly. Because the part of the program and the ordinance is, the members are supposed to have a background and or interest in historic preservation, architecture, things like that. It isn't to say that you have to be an expert, but they want to know why you are on the commission and what makes you a good commission member. David.
So is the best format for that literally just a list of qualifications, not like the whole CV, but just like a list? Or do you want like 3 sentences? I mean, do you want it to be written out, or do you want it to be listed, or does it matter?
I don't know. I would say if you've got a CV prepared that's 4, 5, 6 pages, but it's ready to go, send it, and I will bundle them with your expertise and your knowledge. If you want to preface that with a 3-sentence, intro of here's what I do, here's why I do it, and this is my passion, and the following are the 6 pages worth of actual, presentations and publications. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And then the other thing is that the state asks now if members have attended an informational or training event in the past 12 months. It isn't necessarily a requirement, but I get the impression that they like to see that members are staying, educated and interested about things. I did attend the American Planning Association Illinois chapter conference today. Met with and sat in on the board luncheon where they talk about their training, among other things. And so APA Illinois chapter provides training for board and commission members. So anything from Open Meetings Act things that you need to be knowledgeable about as any board or commissioner, to zoning board things, planning commission things, planning in general things. And they are open to having also HPC members attend those. There's no cost, but it's, you learn about the Open Meetings Act and maybe general Robert's Rules of Orders thing. So my hope is to, as see training opportunities or educational opportunities come up, I will forward them on to you rather than just filing them in my bucket, because part of my job is making sure that you have opportunities to train and be educated and stuff. And if you express an interest in learning something, I can certainly keep my ears and eyes out for opportunities like that or ask around. Since a lot of these opportunities are now virtual and they're over Zoom, people are a lot more lenient about folks from outside logging in because it doesn't really cost them anything. It isn't like, going to a hotel and having a $40 lunch, so you have to pay a $100 fee to get in. People are very welcoming about having board and commission members attend their other events. And so the next item on the thing is, I think tomorrow there is a webinar tomorrow entitled Reading Plans. It's put on by the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. It's free since the city is a member. If you attend, please let me know, and that way I can say so-and-so attended this conference and tick off that box. Certified local government grant cycle is now open. It'll be open through November 15th. I'm going to try and carve out some time to put together an application that will go toward digitizing our demolition delay list of properties, working with Wayne Williams from Cunningham Township Assessor's Office, who keeps all of the property records. They're working on digitizing those. I think that they're attempting to digitize actually some of the data, like construction date or year. And if then that could be added into, say, the city's property management portal, then the ages of all of our properties would then be in the computer, and every year as a new batch of properties hit 75 years old, those properties, if they meet the other criteria, should automatically be added to the demolition delay list. Or when they get demolished, they would hopefully then get taken off the demolition delay list. Right now, the list has been static when it was first created. So if you have any interest in something like that, in working with a staff member or possibly an intern, I'd love to have your help. Otherwise, I will attempt to put something together myself.
Okay.
And it'll be good because it'll be the first time of doing it for me. Moving down into the historic property activities, I spoke to Andrew Fell. His stucco work is scheduled to start soon, and then that's kind of the bottleneck. Then his porch metal roof and the basement window can be completed. All the interior work is done. It's kind of being occupied and being a productive member of society again. No updates from number 4 or number 8, Buena Vista Court. Andrew Feld did mention that the folks at number 3 Buena Vista Court are looking at renovating their property and putting it on the market. It's been a rental property for a while, but I will swing by or maybe just drop them a postcard and say, hey, if you're planning on doing any exterior renovation, please contact the city and follow all of the required certificate of appropriateness regulations.
Marcus, did you take photographs of it before anything was done?
I actually have, I think, some photographs from her, but I should get out there and take some photographs now.
Yeah, I mean, so often we get the sob story about, oh, well, I didn't know about it or whatever. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Let me make a note. And Andrew did say that he would still be interested in doing a tour next summer, especially if COVID lets up and we can meet in person or set up a self-guided walking tour of Buena Vista Court and the historic district downtown.
And that's a tour for who? Who would be on the tour? The public or us?
The public.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving down to 210 South Rain Street, Hotel Royer. They've made some progress on the membrane roof. They did provide material samples as well as literature and brochure samples. I can make those available if anybody wants to take a look at them. I haven't gotten those of the shingles yet. They haven't started work on the shingle roof yet, but they needed to get the membrane roof up and down because the rain we started getting.
Marcus, can I ask a question on the shingle roof? Are they planning to replace or just repair the shingle roof? Do you know?
From what I read and remember of the application, it is repair where necessary. So that to me translates into finding deteriorated portions and fleshing. It doesn't mean right off the bat ripping everything off and putting a whole new one down. Now again, once they're poking and prodding, find that there are so many areas of severe deterioration that it makes no sense to try and rip off 80% or 70% of a roof and leave the remaining 20%. At that point, though, I would say that they would need to seek an amendment to their application to the National Park Service, because that application is the same as ours, where it says repair as needed. Like the half timber situation, when they found that so much of the half timbering was deteriorated, they are supposed to stop and assess how much of it is how deteriorated, submit that to SHPO, and SHPO says, yeah, this is pretty horrible, or conversely, it's not really that bad, you just need to work a little harder. And so that's what I would expect to see there, and frankly, be brought up to speed before they started. I've been periodically checking in with Joseph Pryor, the I think Chief Development Officer there, who's also going to be the property manager of the hotel once it gets started, and try and find out what's happening in the next few weeks.
The reason I asked is because that entire roof was replaced by the last owner.
Right.
Oh, the shingle roof was?
The
Yeah.
whole roof, the entire thing.
So it's not very old. Yeah.
Okay. And
Six.
did you say the Campbell Roof was the company that did it? Or did you say the?
I don't remember. I think they were from Chicago, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. But did you say the gambrel roof?
The entire roof.
Entire roof, okay. And it's good to know that.
Yeah, I remember
I
coming to
have-
I wasn't on the HPC then, but I remember coming to the meeting when that was discussed,
Okay, so
when
what
the
this,
COA came in.
okay, so there should be, that's perfect, okay. So there's a COA on file for roof replacement. Just, COA. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And so SHPO did review the amendment package. I think there were 9 items on there that were all interior things. They were okay with all of them except for one. It was about a type of flooring. They did not have any objections to the stacked stone cladding on the north entrance and porte cochere instead of keeping in brick. I think the comment that I read in there was that the brick that was on there was also substantially different from the original brick, and so it had limited historic value in and of itself. They are, as I understand, continuing to install trim on the 1982 addition and assessing the half timber trim on the 1923 hotel, so they can then submit that as a second amendment to the work plan that'll be submitted to SHPO and the city. And again, they've got 18 months from July 1st to complete the project. Work continues on the inside. If you've driven by, you've probably noticed that they've got construction fencing up around the inner parking lot, and they're actually trying to expand that fenced off area so that the entire lot, which is all hotel property, not city property, can be separated and secured. Moving down into zoning issues, I have no update on Normand. Sorry.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr.
well,
Tucker.
The Chateau Normand, those 3 sets of 3 pairs of signposts, I was told would be removed by today, and I went by there about 5:30 and they're still there. So I will contact the owner again. I might send him an email tonight and just let him know that his property managers have not carried through with what he said they would do today.
I really appreciate you working on that.
You're welcome. It helps that I know the people. Yeah. It's easier with somebody I know than a stranger, which,
right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Marcus?
Pardon?
Anything else in the staff report?
612 West Green Street had submitted a certificate of appropriateness application, and I've reviewed it and it looks good, and I will forward it on to Terry. And that's really about it. I'm going to take 801 West Oregon Street off because Trent got the post removed there, and that's that.
What is 612 West Green? Is it a multifamily?
That was the Ricker House.
Ricker House.
Oh,
where they had replaced the roof. Turns out there was hail damage, and they didn't realize that even something like a standard roof replacement would need to be the paper. So I will say I was following an email discussion on the NAPC listserv about, we talked about doing the annual, hello, thanks for living in a historic house in a historic district. And there are actually jurisdictions that don't and have been really kind of told not to do that because the historic preservation ordinance is part of the zoning ordinance. Not really any different from that. And nobody is being posted to say the Lincoln Busey Corridor residents or the Mixed Office Residential Design Review Board district to remind them that they live in a special overlay district. And if they want to do things on their properties, they need to submit to the Design Review Board an application. And I hadn't even thought about it that way. I will say the vast majority of respondents to those, the question was, yeah, we send postcards, we send out brochures, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it was just an interesting conversation that I'll probably bring up, and I think I can kind of guess what your answer would be, but you know, in hearing that, changed other people's minds about how we educate our historic district property owners.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I assume we have no study session, right?
Correct.
Anybody have any announcements?
Wasn't there something about the approval of the minutes? What happened? What's that? How do we do that, or do we need to do that?
We did that up front at the meeting. We approved, maybe we shouldn't have done both meetings that we missed.
Well,
but
the closed session meeting minutes, are those separate for?
they are separate, right? So that's next. So
We are going to do that. Okay. All right. Sorry. I thought we were past that already somehow. All right. I'm with
Marcus,
you.
is there anything in particular we need to say in the approval of the closed meeting minutes, or?
So I'm looking at Terry's email that she sent. Rules for closed sessions. Member must move and another member must second to go into closed session. Please note the time. So if we can announce the time. This closed session is only to approve and or release the minutes of the last closed meeting. So because this is like closed session and it's confidential, if commission members are okay with these minutes being made public, then they can say to approve the minutes, they're correct, and release them to the public. If you approve them but don't want to release them to the public, I believe they can be like kept confidential for whatever reason. And then you have to, to release them to the public, it has to be a unanimous vote. Members can approve the minutes and not release them. So they're separate, votes, I guess. A member must move and another member must second to re-enter the regular meeting. And please, again, note the time. So somebody moves to go into closed session, second, I don't think we need to vote on it. And then you would vote to approve the minutes, vote to release the minutes, and somebody moves to go back into regular meeting and somebody seconds it and we note the time and then we adjourn. Does that make sense?
Marcus, I thought that all votes needed to be taken in open session. So we would go into closed session to discuss the minutes and then come out and vote in open session.
Well,
Have I even seen these minutes? Have we
No.
seen? No.
so, I believe they were,
They would have been at the last meeting, right?
Well, I was there, but I haven't seen,
Oh.
have I, the minutes?
they
though?
were,
Have those been sent out?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They weren't in the email
Mhm.
package.
in the email. Okay. I can either share them with you on the screen, or I can then If you would like more time, they're pretty minimal. We can look at them on screen, or I can say, okay, we need to figure out that the commission needs more time, and then we can vote on them next month. And then that would actually then give me time to clarify Gina's question on whether the vote is actually supposed to be in the closed session, or if you come back out of closed session and then vote on the minutes.
I think that's a good plan. So,
Let's postpone it.
yeah, so
Okay.
we need a motion to postpone, I guess.
Do we?
Okay. I don't think you need, there's no requirement to approve the minutes at this time.
Oh, okay.
It would be just as if, the minutes hadn't been prepared yet, like in September when the August ones were ready. But so I'll take those two questions to Terry or Phyllis. I know this is a weird thing, and not something that happens often. So we need to know, A, if the vote actually happens in the closed session, or if you come back out of the closed session and then vote on the minutes. And then the second question, well, you haven't seen the minutes. Are we supposed to provide them ahead of time? And we'll do that before the next meeting,
Okay.
if that's what we're supposed to do. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. All right, does anybody have any other announcements that we've missed, or any questions about preservation for the week, or? No? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.